College football playoff seeding. Ladies and gentlemen, the playoffs are set, speaking of which. The first time ever in the college football playoffs that there's no Clemson and no Alabama involved.
Which is so wild because they
is.
are two of the most dominant teams it is in college football.
It definitely is, man. So obviously our first matchup, we got number 1 Georgia versus number 4 Ohio State. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Right now Georgia's favored by 7. And then in the other game, we have number 2 Michigan versus number 3 TCU in the Fiesta Bowl. Dude, right now Michigan's favored by 10 points.
Really?
Yeah, that was surprising to me. I could see him being favored, but 10 right now, I mean, it just seems a little much.
Well, can I ask one question before we even go into the playoffs? What do you feel about the rankings right now? Do you feel like they're right, or do you feel like they're mixed up, or do you feel like somebody else should be in one of those spots?
I am so glad you asked that question. I was getting there. I was going to ask you that. So, did they get the matchups right? I feel like they did, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think Ohio State belongs there. They didn't win their conference. They have no wins that is worthy of getting them into the playoffs, in my opinion. Their best win was over what? Penn State. That's right. It. Unless you want to count Notre Dame beginning of the season, an 8-4 Notre Dame that lost to Marshall this year.
Right.
I just don't think that qualifies as such. But the reason I say that they did get it right though is because if you wouldn't have put Ohio State in there, who was you going to put in there? A 2-loss Bama team? I mean, I didn't want to see that. A 2-loss Tennessee team, because that was the 2 teams behind them. I don't know. I just felt like it was the right 4 because there's 4 teams in the college football playoffs right now. 2 teams are undefeated, and the other 2 teams have only lost 1 game. Every other team has lost at least 2 games.
Right.
So when you look at it like that, I mean, those have got to be the 4 teams in there. You don't really have much leeway or much, you don't have much room to slide anybody else in there, in my opinion. I don't know. How you feel about it? You think they got it right?
I just don't feel like the conference championship game should be penalized to the team that just may lose it because they have an extra game. It should be only for the 12 games that's played in the regular season. The conference games shouldn't even matter. So that would put USC there, and then they could have played for whatever, because they was in it for 1 week, and then they lose the conference championship game, and then now you're out. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm glad that they're going to the 12-team format. But, bro, that doesn't make any sense. What if you play the extra game and lose that one, and now you're not in? It's a fault in the system, bro. It's too many faults in the system.
Yeah, it is. But maybe they took into factor that they lost to the same team twice. That wasn't like a top team. I mean, Utah's good, but they're not a top 5 team. They're 8th right now and they moved up to 8th when they just beat USC
but top 10 still, it's just like I say, just
right. But
playing that extra game, and it doesn't count for the other team. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, so you're judging me off of 13 games and you judging this one off of 12 games.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I understand that. But like before this week, before that win, Utah wasn't in the top 10. They're 8th now. They moved up because they just beat USC again. But maybe, like I said, maybe that's what factored into their decision outside of strength of schedule shit like that. But I mean, there's always going to be a hole and there's always going to be a loophole in the system, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're expanding. And even when they expand, we're going to find reasons. What they're going to do 12 teams. So we're going to be sitting here a couple years from now, and then we're going to be seeing a lot more of that shit. And then we're going to be discussing 2 years from now, we're going to be discussing which teams at 13 and 14 got screwed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just going to be an ongoing thing, man, for so long.
Right. Just something to think about. Just something to think about going forward, just different judgments. That's not a fair judgment. You feel me?
So
That's
you
all
don't
I
feel like
feel.
they got it right then? You think USC should have been in over Ohio State?
I feel like USC should have been in. I feel like they should have been in with the 12 games, and those other games are extra. You feel me? Conference championship games, that's extra. You feel me?
I feel you. You really got to win every game, and that's another reason why I don't feel like Ohio State should have got it. Because let me tell you something. Okay, say Michigan and Ohio State. You know, when we both played, we was both 11-0.
Right.
If Michigan would have lost to Ohio State, they would have had no chance of getting in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what nobody says. They wouldn't have played for the Big Ten either. So they would have had no conference championship. We'd have been in the same boat Ohio State is in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Michigan would not have gotten in. I do not feel like they would have gotten in. One loss or not. They would have tried to throw a 2-loss Alabama in before us. Michigan would not have gotten in. I don't feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that shit hella biased. That shit hella biased though. That's all I'm saying.
it is. Ohio State's the only one-loss team that can get away with that slick shit. They don't belong there, but it don't matter. They ain't gonna be hanging around for long. So, So did they get the playoff matchups right? In your opinion?
Pretty close. Like I say, pretty close. Other than the conference championship loss, betting 12 games, doing 12 games to 13 games. I just don't think that's fair. But I do want to see Ohio State in there. But like I say, it's just not fair. Whatever. Judging 13 games and 12 games.
Why you want to see Ohio State in there, man?
Because that just makes everything just so much more fun now that Ohio State's in there, and they got to play Georgia.
Oh yeah, watching them lose, I agree with that.
Bro, it's gonna be so amazing, dog, watching these teams play this year. This is gonna be probably one of the best freaking playoffs we've had.
I can tell you right now, I can't wait to see it.
For real, I'm very excited.
I cannot wait to see it.